Hello students, today we will discuss the extra question with answers of NCERT Class 8 Science, Chapter 4, Materials, Metals and Non-Metals. Question number 1, what is malleability? Answer is the property of metals by which they can be beaten into thin sheets without breaking is called malleability. Now in this, the important thing is without breaking, because some of the non-metals can even be beaten into thin sheets, but you will not get a single sheet, it will break into pieces. Therefore, it is very important that during the definition we should include the term without breaking. Next is, this is a characteristic property of metals. When we say it is a characteristic property of metals, it means that it is a unique property by which we can identify the metals, and hence it is a kind of a identity for a metals, that metals are malleable. Example is silver foil used for decorating sweets, aluminum foil used for wrapping food. Both the examples we are quite familiar with. Question number 2, what is ductility? Answer is the property of metal by which it can be drawn into wires without breaking is called ductility. Again, similar to malleability, this is also a characteristic property of metals. That is, you can identify or define the metals by using this ductility property. Example is, we see aluminum and copper wires, which are generally used in electric cables and wires. Next, question number 3. What do you mean by sonorous? The answer is the property of metals to produce a ringing sound when struck hard is called sonorous. That is, when you hit a metal with a hard substance, then it produces a ringing sound. And again, this is also a characteristic property, since non-metals don't exhibit such properties. Such properties are used to identify the metals. Materials other than metals are not sonorous. Next, question number 4. What are metals? So the answer is the materials which possesses the properties like hardness, luster, malleability, ductility, sonority, and are good conductors of heat and electricity are called metals. The examples of metals are iron, copper, aluminium, calcium, gold, etc. Again, as we have discussed earlier, for the properties of malleability and ductility, similarly the sonority, hardness, luster, all these properties are unique for metals, and hence these are used to define the metals. Next question, question number 5. What are non-metals? Answer, the substances which are soft and dull, that is, that are non-lustrous, non-sonorous, non-ductile, non-malleable, poor conductor of heat and electricity are called non-metals. The examples being coal, oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur, etc. Usually non-metals do not show the unique properties of metals. But again, for all the above cases of metals and non-metals, there are some exceptions. Question number 6. Mention the physical properties of metals. The physical properties of metals are hardness, luster, malleability, ductility, sonority, good conductors of heat and electricity. All these properties what we have discussed till now, these are all physical properties of which can be used to distinguish metals and non-metals. Next, question number 7. Name 2 metals which are soft enough to be cut by knife. Answer is sodium and potassium, which are soft enough so that they can be easily cut with a knife. Next question, question number 8. Name the only metal which is liquid at room temperature. Answer is mercury is the only metal which is found in liquid state at room temperature. Now, some of you might argue that why then mercury is included in the metal and not in non-metals, because other than the liquid state at room temperature, all the other properties of mercury are mostly to metal and not that of non-metals. Hence, mercury is included in the metal category. Question 9. What happens when a copper vessel is exposed to a moist air for long? Now, when a metal like copper is exposed to moist air, it is a phenomena similar of rusting of copper. Answer is, when a copper vessel is exposed to moist air for long, it acquires a dull green coating. As in the case of rusting of iron, here also the rusting of copper takes place, but in this case you get a dull green coating on the top surface. The green material is a mixture of copper hydroxide and copper carbonate, and the reaction is as follows. When copper it is exposed to moist air have higher content of water vapors, and since it is air, so it will have O2 and CO2, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide. The end resultant reaction will give you CuOH twice, that is copper hydroxide along with copper carbonate. So a phenomena similar to the rusting will take place. Question 10. Explain the activity to show metallic oxides is basic in nature. So we have to discuss an activity which shows that metallic oxides is basic in nature. Answer is, burn the magnesium ribbon in air, then dissolve the ash obtained in water, and then test its nature, whether it is acidic or basic. We observe that the red litmus turns blue. This shows that the oxide of magnesium is basic in nature. When the red litmus turns blue, then the resultant solution is basic in nature. So in general, we can say that metallic oxides are basic in nature. Question number 11. Oxides of non-metals are acidic in nature. Explain. So it is again a vice versa of the above question, that we have to show oxides of non-metals are acidic in nature. Here, when sulfur burns in air, that is the reaction of sulfur with oxygen, we get sulfur dioxide. When this sulfur dioxide is dissolved in water, we get sulfurous acid. We can see the reaction as written. The sulfur dioxide, when reacts with water, we get sulfurous acid H2SO3. The sulfurous acid, when it is tested with a litmus paper, it turns the blue litmus paper into red, and this shows that it is acidic in nature, and hence we can conclude that oxides of the non-metals are acidic in nature. So moving to the next question, question number 12. Explain the chemical properties of metals. Answer. For chemical properties of metals, we have to discuss their chemical reactions with three agents. First is the reaction with oxygen or air, second is the reaction with water, and third is the reaction with acids. So first case, reaction with oxygen. Metals react with oxygen to form metallic oxides. Now these metallic oxides are basic in nature because they react with water to form bases. As we have seen earlier, when metals react with oxygen, they produce metallic oxides which are basic in nature. Example, again, magnesium burns in air to form magnesium oxide, and this magnesium oxide when react with water forms magnesium hydroxide. Reaction with water. When metals react with water to form metal hydroxide and hydrogen. Here again we see a reaction where sodium reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. It is a kind of a displacement reaction because this sodium atoms replaces the hydrogen from H2O, and hence we get sodium hydroxide and the hydrogen gas is released. Reaction with acids. Again, an important thing to remember that when metals react with acids, it forms metallic salts and hydrogen gas is released. Example is when zinc react with the dilute hydrochloric acid, we get zinc chloride, ZnCl2, and hydrogen gas is released. Moving to the next question, question number 13. Explain the chemical properties of nonmetals. Again, similar to the metals, while discussing the chemical properties, we have to discuss the reaction with oxygen, reaction with water, and reaction with acids. So, discussing the reaction with oxygen, when nonmetals react with oxygen, we get the oxides, but these oxides are acidic in nature, as we have seen earlier. And why they are acidic? Because they react with water to form acids. And the example, as discussed earlier, it is when sulfur burns in air to form sulfur dioxide, and this sulfur dioxide when react with water, it forms the sulfurous acid H2SO3. Second point, reaction with water. Nonmetals do not react with water, so usually we do not get nonmetals reacting with the water, hence no reactions. Reaction with acids. Again, here most of the time nonmetals do not react with acids. Some nonmetals like sulfur, since sulfur is more reactive, react with the concentrated nitric acid to form sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, and water. The reaction can be seen. The sulfur when react with nitric acid, we get the sulfur dioxide SO2, nitrogen dioxide NO2, and water being formed. Moving to the next question, question number 14. Why there is a pop sound when a burning matchstick is brought near the mouth of the test tube containing the metal with acid? That is, we get a pop sound when a burning matchstick is brought near the mouth of the test tube, and the test tube is containing metal with acid. So what is the answer? Metals react with acids, and we know that when the metals react with acid, they produce hydrogen gas. Now, since it is a gas, it gets accumulated at the mouth of the test tube. This hydrogen gas burns with a pop sound when a burning matchstick is brought near the mouth of the test tube, and hence we hear a pop sound in this case. Thus, the pop sound indicates the presence of hydrogen gas, which gets formed during the reaction of metal with acids. Next question, question number 15. What do you mean by displacement reaction? Answer: in a displacement reaction, a more reactive metal can replace a less reactive metal, but a less reactive metal cannot replace a more reactive metal. As the name suggests, displacement, it is a more reactive metal displacing or taking the position of a less reactive metal in a solution, but the vice versa, that is a less reactive metal cannot replace a more reactive metal from its solution. For example, iron replaces the copper from copper sulfate solution, since iron is more reactive than copper, but the opposite of it will not happen. Why? Because copper is less reactive. Question number 16. What is reactivity series? What is its use? Answer is the arrangement of metals in decreasing order of their reactivity is called reactivity series of metals. It is a series in which higher reactive metals are placed at the top, whereas the less reactive metals are placed at the bottom. Hence, by this reactivity series, we can get the information about the reactions of metals with acids and water. That is, whether the metal is able to displace hydrogen when it reacts with water, as hydrogen is also placed in the reactivity series. The metals placed above the hydrogen are more reactive than hydrogen, and hence they will displace the hydrogen when the metals react with water. The metals that are less reactive than hydrogen, which are placed below the hydrogen in the reactivity series, when they react with water, they will not be able to displace hydrogen gas in the reaction. Similarly, we can judge the displacement reactions. As discussed earlier, the displacement reactions, we can judge whether a metal is more reactive than the other metal, and hence will it be able to displace the metal from its solution. And last, the extraction of metals from their ores. Again, in this we use the reactivity series as we make the metal ores to react with a metal or an element which is more reactive. In that reaction, the more reactive metal is able to remove the metal from its ore, which are generally in the oxides form. Question number 17. What are the main use of metals? Metals, as we know, have a wide variety of applications. First, metals like iron is used for making pin, nuts, nails, bolts, tools, machines. All the machine bodies are made up of iron, since it is cheap and it is a heavy metal. Aluminium is used for making utensils, wires, parts of aircraft, as it is light in weight, vehicle, packaging of foodstuff and medicines, as we have seen in aluminium. Next, copper is used for making wires, vessels, electrical gadgets, as copper is a very fine or very good conductor of electricity. Gold and silver are used in making jewelry, coins and medals. Platinum is used for making jewelry as well as electrical gadgets and production of hydrogen gas. The important use of platinum is in the production of hydrogen gas. Sodium compounds are used as common salt. Calcium compounds are used for making cement, glass, ceramics, etc. Next, question number 18. What are the main uses of non-metals? Similar to metals, non-metals are also quite abundant and have quite large variety of applications. First, non-metals like oxygen are used for respiration by living beings and for burning of fuels. As we know that for respiration, oxygen is necessary. Also, the burning of fuel will not take place if there is no oxygen supply. Compounds of carbon and hydrogen such as petrol, diesel, methane are primarily used as fuel for automobiles. We know that all the automobiles run on petrol, diesel and CNG gas. Now we have the new automobiles, that is the electrical vehicles, which again require the electricity which are produced by carbon found in the coal, which act as a fuel for the thermal power plants. Nitrogen is used for making ammonia, which is again an important constant for fertilizers. necessary for improving the soil quality. Sulfur is used for making sulfuric acid and other salts of metals. Hydrogen is used for making ammonia, again, which is necessary. Hydrogen is used for making ammonia, which is used for making fertilizers. Also, hydrogen is used as a fuels in rockets as it has more heating value. Chlorine is used to kill germs in water. We have seen the domestic water filters in which we have the chlorine kit installed to kill germs present in water. Iodine is used as antiseptic as well as disinfectant. Question number 19. These are the extra questions, that is, which are not necessary from your exam point of view, but as it is mentioned, we have included that here also. What is an element? If a substance cannot be broken down further by chemical reactions, by cooling, heating or electrolysis, it is called element. That is, if we keep on breaking down the substance either by the chemical reactions or by cooling, heating or electrolysis, the lowest or the smallest element which we get, we name it as element. In chemistry, in higher standard, we define element in a proper way as it is a substance made up of only one kind of atom. What is an atom? It is the smallest unit of element. That is, the smallest element, we name it as atom, and when a substance is having only one kind of atom, then we name it as element. All the metals and non-metals, as we have mentioned above, belongs to the elements. The sulfur, iron, carbon, oxygen, all are element. Question number 20. What are metalloids? Give examples of metalloids. Answer. Metalloids are the substances having properties intermediate between that of metal and a non-metal. That is, metalloids show the properties, some of the properties of metal and some properties of that of a non-metal. So they are intermediate to both of them. Examples are silicon, boron, arsenic, antimony, etc. Hope you have understood the extra question and answers of this chapter 4, materials, metals and non-metals. Thank you.